Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Random Health-ish. I am your host, Dr. Gloria Stone-Ozbek, and tonight we have a very special guest with us. Tonight we have Miss Chemyeeka Tumblin, and she is a preconception health strategist, and she's also a marriage and family therapist. So, without further ado, please welcome Miss Chemyeeka to the show. Hello.
Hi.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for just, blessing us with your presence. I know you got a lot going on today, kind of busy. But could you just start off by telling us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay, sure. So my name is Chemyeeka Tumblin. I am currently in Nashville, Tennessee, where I am our local preconception health strategist for our local health department. I am also a marriage and family therapist with the Nashville Collaborative Counseling Center, as well as within that practice, the majority of my clients are moms who are working through either anxiety and depression post-birth, so working through those fears, or fears post-birth and pre-birth. So I work with the perinatal, prenatal community, as well as postpartum. So a lot of my experience is in maternal mental health specifically, which just speaks to the intersectionality of my work in terms of the health department and my work as a therapist.
Yes, that's so awesome. So if you guys hear something in the background, it's just my neighbor cutting his grass tonight. I don't know why he waited until 7 p.m., but that's okay.
It's a little cooler outside right now to be on the lawnmower. That's what it is.
But I think that's so awesome because there are so many women, one, that are trying to conceive and they are having difficulty in doing so. And then there's the aspect of, once you do conceive and have the baby, a lot of women have a bout of postpartum depression. And I feel like in our community, we don't really discuss the postpartum depression as much. So a lot of times it goes misdiagnosed or undiagnosed, and people don't even realize that that's what they're suffering from. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, what is a preconception health strategist? Like, what are some ways that you kind of advise women to kind of prepare their bodies and their minds for conceiving?
So it's interesting. So as a preconception health strategist with our health department, I don't actually do one-on-one consultations. So it's more so looking at laws that have been passed or that are going into legislation, looking at what the numbers are within our health department. So for instance, something that I just did recently was I worked with our community health um, coordinator, and she and I created a expecting parent packet is what it's called. But it's called that on purpose because you can be a parent and not have a biological child. You could be a parent and you are maybe taking custody of a family member. So there's so many ways to be a parent. So the packet was to talk about not just what it looks like for your family dynamic to change because you've planned or you have a pregnancy, but also the many ways someone can become a parent, which also speaks to that mental health piece because a lot of times there are many communities within the not only maternal mental health field, but just the parenting field in general that are somewhat, we'll say, get overlooked. They're not invisible. We know they exist. They just don't get a lot of attention or a lot of the public service announcements that we make because we speak to the larger group, which of course is the group that has a baby versus the group that may have had a miscarriage or a stillbirth. So people who still went through the carrying phase, but maybe didn't have a live birth or a baby afterwards, that we could be like, okay, so this is what you need now as a mother. You're still a mother or you're still a birthing parent. You just don't have the child. And then for those people who didn't go through maybe the 9 months of carrying a child, but still have a child, those are still individuals who still need those resources as well. So to, answer your question, in that role, that's actually what I do kind of as a doula. So I'm also a full spectrum trained doula. And part of that is helping individuals understand the importance of what your diet looks like, help individuals understand what the importance of working through that family trauma or whatever the trauma is that has occurred, because all of that stress is impacting not only you but your womb. So it's when we talk about being healed before you get into a relationship, another one of those relationships is the relationship between you and your unborn child. Um, Brief, won't go into it too much, but epigenetics. Like we've learned, like so much of what our ancestors went through has been passed down to us, and we carry it within our DNA, whether we know or don't know. So the importance of working through those things so that we're slowly repairing ourselves generationally. So no, it may not happen with me, but I can start it so that the next generation has something to build on and aren't starting from scratch. And then also just talking about the importance of having a community. So if you are trying to conceive, a group that I work with also, I'm a part of their, or I am a co-leader of their BIPOC channel, is Modern Fertility. And that's a community where individuals talk about they're trying to conceive. And while they're in that community, they talk about their struggles freely, what it's like being a person of color and learning your options to conception. Because a lot of us, we don't know anything beyond you have sex, you have a baby. And there's so many other ways. And for some individuals, it's not even that simple. It's not, oh, we had sex and we got pregnant. Some individuals have sex but never get pregnant. So what are your other options? Should you be looking at freezing your eggs? Should you be looking at, IVF or IUI? Like, then there's all the acronyms, of course, and then all the medical terminologies. So in terms of that, trying starting with basic information, which is the importance of making sure you are a healed individual, and that you are living a holistically healthy lifestyle. And then depending on the person or the nature of which their conception journey takes, then speaking more specific to them individually.
Yes, absolutely. That was a good point that you mentioned about the other ways that you can conceive. I actually was talking to friends of mine recently, and they are looking for a surrogate um, to, carry their child and everything for them. But even that in and of itself is a whole, entire process.
Hmm.
So it can be stressful mentally, physically,
Financially.
financially, because, once you start looking into other methods of trying to conceive, it can add up very quickly and it can become quite expensive. And I think that may be another reason why you don't find as many African American couples um, looking at the other avenues of trying to conceive. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But it's so much under this umbrella to discuss.
I think something too is making sure that we are connected to resources or we know our resources. So, for instance, the longer I've been a part of this community, the more I've learned about resources that I didn't know existed before. So, for instance, Fertility for Colored Girls, literally, not only do they you're listening to stories from women who look like you, or families that look like your family talk about what their journey was and their struggles, but also the joys along with those struggles. But then also they have resources where they offer scholarships for adoption, egg freezing, and it's not random, but you just have to know what path you're trying to take to know what scholarships or what money you're even looking for. Organizations like Resolve that talk that have support groups, but also great information on infertility, processing infertility, and also working through infertility to create the family that you desire. Or if you're someone that's like, okay, I know this, I now understand my body. I don't want a family, but I now know I just have a general knowledge of me. Because I think that's another side of the coin we don't talk about often. For some people, it's not necessarily that I want a family, but I want to know what's happening to my body because I feel like my body's failing me. So I need an answer to know what's happening so I even know mentally how to handle what's next. Because if I don't know infertility, PCOS, endometriosis, if these are the things that are happening to me, then I'm constantly going through chronic pain and even unaware of how to soothe my own pain.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's even more discouraging is when you can't conceive, and then your OBGYN can't give you answers. Like, they're doing blood work, they're doing all these things, and they're like, oh, well, everything looks fine, you know? And so that kind of goes back into what you were saying about, you know, diet and lifestyle choices, because a lot of people don't really realize you need certain vitamins and certain minerals in your body so that your body can, you know, produce the eggs, or, you know, increase your sperm count in the men, you know, so that the female can conceive. So it's so much that kind of goes into that. But like you said, the more that we educate ourselves on, you know, what it takes, the necessary steps that we need to just kind of take in order to get to that next step, the more likely we are to make better choices in our everyday lives.
And another piece of that too, just if I could, you know, like, not medical advice, but just sharing what I've learned. Something that a lot of individuals don't know is prenatal vitamins aren't for once you're pregnant. They are, honestly, if you know, like, if you are planning a family, like if you're doing family planning and you're like, hey, I know I want to get pregnant in this window, you need to already be taking those prenatal vitamins. You need to be making sure you're getting the right amount of iron, zinc, and the other minerals that your body needs. Speaking of what you were saying, men as well, because infertility is not just a I shouldn't say it not that way. Flip it around. Infertility is not just the woman. Men can contribute to infertility as well. So it's a function of both, because there are tests where some women will find that it's their egg health, and then there are tests where some men find that it's their sperm health. And I know that completely goes against the narrative. We are told so often, you're too young to get pregnant, so don't get pregnant. Your life ain't together yet, or you're not where you want to be, so don't get pregnant. But no one mentions, I feel, the piece of what happens when you get to the point where you're like, I want to be pregnant, but you, like, it doesn't happen. And then also for men, for us, we know there's a window. They tell you, like, hey, you need to have a baby between this age and this age. When you're starting to hit 40, things get a little rocky. For men, you're producing sperm your whole life. It don't matter. You may be producing sperm your whole life, but are you producing sperm that are going to, you know, be able to, yes. Like if we doing a little emoji where the, you know, the sperm is swimming to the egg, like, are you going to be able to, you know, penetrate the egg, or are you
just gonna be in circles?
Everybody just swimming together? You know, hey, how you doing? I'm doing good. We supposed to be doing something, but I don't know what we supposed to be doing.
That's so funny that you mentioned vitamins, though, because okay, so where are you located, Chemyeeka?
Nashville.
Okay, so I'm in Alabama. So if you talk to anybody and you say, hey, I'm trying to get pregnant, every woman in the South, well, I know in the Black community, they say, take Geritol. Have you heard that?
No.
What?
I haven't.
Okay, so this is the myth of the South, okay? So they say when you're trying to conceive, take Geritol complete. So if most people don't know what Geritol is, it is considered a geriatric supplement, but it has pretty much everything that, you know, your body needs. And most people, like you said, don't realize they are vitamin deficient. And so I was like, well, you know, let me kind of see if this works. So I had a friend, she was trying to conceive, and her oldest son was like 17 years old. And I was like, well, everybody say, take Geritol, because she had been trying to conceive for like over a year, and she was not able to. And so she took it, and she took 2 bottles worth. And I remember she messaged me on Facebook, and she was like, this shit is not working, right? And then a couple weeks later, she said, hey, I'm pregnant. I was just like, what? So I'm like, okay.
And I'm from South Georgia, and I never heard that. I feel like I need to write that down now. Like,
it's an Alabama thing.
I'm gonna go do some research on Geritol.
But if you Google it, if you, like, the company itself says, oh, you know, our, you know, product will not get you pregnant. But then when you actually read the reviews,
that's what most people took it for.
They took it to get pregnant, and most ended up, you know, getting pregnant after that. So But of course, with any vitamin or any supplement or any kind of nutrients that you're trying to put into your body, you have to be consistent.
Mhm.
Um, if you're drinking alcohol and stuff like that, you got to keep that stuff down to a minimum. Keep your stress levels down to a minimum, making sure you're getting enough sleep and all that good stuff. And just not stress about it. Because I feel like also, too, because we have that time clock pressure on us, like, hey, we have to have a baby by 40 or 40, between before 40 or, before 45. And I feel like that stress in the back of your mind, you putting that stress on yourself, I feel like it makes it harder for your body to conceive as well.
So what I'll say to that is it definitely so the mental health piece is the importance of like we talked about, whether you're seeing a therapist, maybe you got a life coach, or you just have a strong network that you're able to discuss when things get hard, discuss your joys with. Because yes to that, but also just the understanding that anytime we're talking about whether it be preconception or conception, there's going to be some amount of stress. I can't tell you like, oh, don't stress about it. But what I can tell you is make sure you have coping mechanisms for that stress. And I also can't say that just because you're not stressing means that you're going to get pregnant. But what I can't say is that you have by alleviating some of the stress, you are increasing your chances for some of the methods that you are trying to actually have a better outcome because you have taken some of that pressure off of your body so that your body's not essentially fighting itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, in reference to like postpartum depression, what
Mhm.
are some tips that you kind of work through or that you give your clients to just kind of help them manage that?
So, one of the key things with postpartum depression, of course, is identifying what are their symptoms. So, is it postpartum depression or postpartum rage? Is it, are you crying often? Or are you just numb to your emotions? And so I say that to say everyone's postpartum depression looks different. So when we're talking about having a community once again, just because your friend's postpartum depression looked like she couldn't get out of bed doesn't mean your postpartum depression look like you can't get out of bed. For you, you may have symptoms of postpartum depression that are showing up because you're easily annoyed anytime you hear loud noises, or you're missing out on sleep. And by missing out on sleep, that is causing you to be easily agitated. Like it's literally those same symptoms you would have of depression, but post baby, and a lot of times geared towards things around being a new parent. So, with that being said, everyone's plan looks a little different. So, first step is always just identifying like what does your postpartum depression look like and what are your triggers? It's like what are those things that you've identified that definitely put you at a higher state of agitation or elevated emotions? Support systems. It's just like once again going back to pretty much anything we do when we talk about mental health is always, do you have a community? Like, and what are you learning in that community? So support system so that you have someone to go to when things like when you do need someone to talk to and I'm not available. Support system so you know that you don't have to do everything on your own. So do you have a supportive partner or a supportive family that's helping you with the baby or with the babies because you may have multiple. Also support systems in terms of the communities that you're in. So I talk a lot with church members. So when you're at church or if you're at work or wherever it is you are people giving you a narrative that makes you feel something's wrong with you, or are they helping you to feel empowered or helping to motivate you to continue to find resources and to get the help? Because that plays a huge part in it too. This narrative of it's not, there's something wrong with me. I should, being a mom or being a new parent, it was supposed to be magic. Like I was just supposed to know what to do. Newsflash, anybody listening, that doesn't happen. Like it's not a flip of a switch. Um, if I'm oversimplifying it, it's more like it could be considered like riding a bike. Like they're just you don't know what you're doing till you do it. Number one, so you can read all the books you want. Doesn't mean your baby's temperament is gonna go with the books. Um, Also, we all know there's phases to riding a bike. You don't just hop on a two-wheeler and learn. You usually start with training wheels. You got to have a helmet. You got to have knee pads. And depending on at what age you're learning to ride a bike, if you don't ride a bike for a while, parents of multiple children, when you do it again, you got to start over. Like, so there's just a lot of societal pressures that come with that too, that your support system can help you through, because it's the understanding that every time is different. Times are changing. You could have had a baby 2 years ago, and what you did then could no longer either be deemed safe, or just things. Times have changed, and we know. But when you know better, you do better. Um, Moving on from the support system, definitely somewhere in there, speaking with your physician, because a lot of times what it could be hormonal imbalances, so there could be actual medicine that's needed, but also there could be, the postpartum depression could be within other health needs. So it could be a sign that there's something that your doctor needs to pay closer attention to. So, like you said, vitamin deficiency, um, things within the body that aren't operating the way they're supposed to. So without like being too medical with that, postpartum depression, just like depression, anxiety, are often signs that your body is telling you that there's something that needs to be adjusted here. And then if I could give just like one more piece of general that we do with postpartum depression, would be honestly assessing the schedule. So like, what are you doing for you? Because a lot of times we talk about being new parents, and it's like, what are you doing for baby? What are you doing for baby? How are you soothing yourself? Like, what are you doing for you? What is the period when people are there to take baby so that you can maybe sleep more? Because sleep, like lack of sleep adds to that. What are you eating like? Like, do you have time to eat? Like your body needs the nutrients, especially if you're breastfeeding. Like you need to be giving your body nutrients because you're constantly depleting them. And it's not that that's a bad thing in the sense that like it's bad that you're breastfeeding, but it's by eating and feeding your baby is taking some of that nutrient. So you need to be have enough nutrients for you and the baby. And then also from there could be, like I said, personalized plans depending on what the person is going through. And then also, like we just talked about, I'm in Nashville, you're in Alabama. What does that person's built environment look like? Because that contributes to, depression or this feeling of isolation as well.
Yes, especially when you have kids and the people around you don't have kids. Sometimes it's very easy to just kind of feel like you're just kind of going through everything alone. And you may have a partner, you may not have a partner, but sometimes you can have a supportive partner and still feel like that, I guess kind of envious that that person gets to go to work while you're kind of, at home having to take care of the baby and all that good stuff. So,
I think something that I definitely have spoken more to lately, and something that I'm even encouraging in my preconception role with the health department, is the understanding that family planning, like speaking a narrative of actually planning a family and not just contraception. Because the things that we're talking about now are definitely things that aid to someone having insight and tools and resources for themselves while pregnant and after. So it's a lot of, I feel, narratives, especially here in the South, that have to shift because we speak so much to not getting pregnant that I feel there's a whole community that is often like, there was nobody, talking with balloons and etc. about, okay, we're planning a baby now. So here's what we need to do. Or if I were to add in another piece I talk about, same with marriage. Like there seems to be a gap. There's you're not ready, or we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about prevention, or you don't need a man, you don't need a woman right now, like focus on you. And then when we get to those pieces, because they are part of development, when we get to those parts of our lives where we're maturing and we're going to that next phase of development, it's like, what am I doing? And there may be people talking about it, but they weren't talking about it in our circles. So we're just grabbing straws, but we don't even know if we grab the right straw that's like is going to support the foundation we're building or essentially make it crumble.
Yes, and stop asking people when are they gonna conceive. Stop
Please.
doing that because you don't know what kind of struggles, these people are going through. They may be trying, they may have been trying for like years. They may have had miscarriages. They may you just don't know what's going on in that person's relationship with that person's uterus or with their eggs, with their sperm. You don't know. So please stop asking them when are they going to conceive because, it kind of puts an added pressure on them that, oh, they have to now, because that's just crazy to me. Just stop doing it.
And I mean, it's Public Health Week, so something that I know is going to be a part of one of the days of this week as part of the theme, but also something that we're doing more in healthcare in general, gender affirming care, and also the understanding that everything's not on the woman. I hope to carry the child one day. You can't expect me to know everything.
Yes.
This ain't all on me. If we're gonna be a supportive partnership, hey, did you go get the sperm count check? What do you know about your body? I know about mine. What do you know about yours? We having some of these intimacy building conversations, later on in the dating phase, closer to getting married. Don't want to scare
Yeah.
you, but okay, so what are we looking at here? What we doing? Do we know so we know our time frame in which we're going to say we're going to try to conceive. Do we have a plan? What does your support look like? If I'm upset or if I'm struggling, what type of support are you going to provide me? And how do you plan to show up when things get tough? Because those are questions that we often have as a couple, but we don't think about the scenarios or the situations in which we will actually have to apply those tough conversations. So yeah.
Yeah, because I think the assumption is automatic that the mom is going to be there to take care of the child, whether that is the case or isn't the case. But that's the assumption, and I think that a lot of times people let the father kind of, lack a little bit because that is the expectation. And
I've
it's,
seen, oh, sorry.
no, go.
I was gonna say I've seen a lot of relationships with the father, the husband, partner, whatever. They are so supportive.
Yes, I love
And
to see that.
we in therapy sessions and she telling me he the one doing the journaling, about, the stories he can't wait to tell their child, or he's telling her, hey, I bought you an outfit because we got to get this pregnancy photo, he is so there because he wants that connection and he understands right now my connection is you because the baby's not here. To reading books like the birthing partner, how can I be in the birthing room? Yes, we have a doula, but how can I assist you? So me, okay, well, that's cool. Yes, I'm in the room, but here are the things you get to do as well. And even there are books now written from the father's perspective on how to be supportive during breastfeeding. You're not just the babysitter or the other parent. You get to be active in this role as well. And also just to say, once again, conversations like these, including men and partners in this conversation, the understanding that there are ways you can show up and be supportive even though you aren't carrying the child.
Yes, and to me, it's the little things too, like if I cook dinner and, I'm trying to, get the baby in the tub and, get everything together, help me wash some dishes or something, at least load the dishwasher, because I feel like sometimes when the expectation is on the woman to do every single thing, and then you wonder why she doesn't feel the need to want to be intimate by the end of the night because she's tired of shit. That's why. She's
Don't
tired.
touch me. Let me roll over and just go to sleep. Yeah.
So, you'll find just helping out with small things around the house, even if it's just picking up toys or something, just I can just see women being so appreciative of that. You know what I mean? And to all the men who are doing that out there, I applaud you. I think that is absolutely amazing. And just keep it up. Keep it up. I love it.
Learn them love languages and stick with it. Because I mean, eventually the baby's gonna grow, and during that time frame, you two still have to go back to learning like autonomy. What do we like to do? Ourselves outside of
Mhm.
baby. If you're having another child, you got to go back through that cycle again, like from step one all the way through. And like the theme of this talk is pregnant and mental health. So also it's important for you to be thinking on your mental health as well because you contribute to this baby's lifestyle, this baby's, DNA makeup, the whole nine. So it's not just important for mom or the birthing partner to be healed or going through a plan of becoming healed. It's important for you to be doing the same thing because if you got a temper now, trust me, going through this process is no joke. You're going to be tried and tested.
It's gonna get
So
worse.
yeah, I mean, you need to be working on those things. If you know that you need to work on showing up authentically and being in spaces where you can, like you said, wash dishes or not read minds, but in a sense, take cues, like those nonverbal cues. Oh, is her feet hurting? Did she have a bad day at work? I'm gonna ask because sometimes that's all I take. I'm gonna
Right.
ask. Like if you know you're somebody that you need to kind of be primed for that, or you need to go through a series of things for yourself before you get to the point where you can show up for somebody like that. Don't be afraid to do so. There's no shame in getting a therapist or talking with your guys about this. And it can do nothing but not only make you a better person, but build those relationships that you're in.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's my friend Destrin. He's a great father. He always has his son Dallas with him. But yeah, absolutely. It's just it just makes my heart warm to just think about, just everything that kind of goes into it. Like, yes, it's a lot of hard work. It can be discouraging at times, when you're looking at the bigger picture. And but just know that you are strong enough. You can do it. You can get through it. If you feel like you don't have a support system or you feel like you don't have people who have your best interests um, for not just you, but also for your child as well, get rid of those people. Don't keep them in your circle. Don't keep them around you because they're only going to make what you're going through more intense.
Mhm.
So just try to surround yourself with positive people in an awesome support system.
Sounds amazing. I'm like, I don't like if we had to give a checklist, in all honesty, the whole
I
podcast
know.
was like the whole episode was kind of a checklist. But definitely acknowledging where you are and where you want to be, understanding you'll never be perfect. No one's asking you to be, and giving yourself grace. Decreasing stress where you can, reaching out and connecting with individuals to learn coping mechanisms, but also learn more about you. And also the understanding that if it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean that you're broken. It doesn't mean that anything is wrong with you. Um, you are exactly who you were created to be. Your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And sometimes it's a journey of building patience. And at other times, it's a journey of opening your eyes to new ways to do things. I know individuals who became parents in ways that they would have never considered. And it was like this journey just opened our eyes to see the world differently. And I think being a person of faith and especially speaking to other people of faith, the journey of conception is one sometimes that truly individuals are like there are times that were so hard that it had me questioning like what I learned growing up isn't aligning with what I am doing. So, and we don't talk about that a lot too, like just having assistance in conception. And that could be a whole nother talk. But to say it's okay, do what's best for you. Because at the end of the day, this is your life, no one else's, and these are your decisions to make.
Yes, absolutely. And it's okay to, listen to advice, but at the end of the day, it's your child. Don't get frustrated. People are only going to tell you what worked for them. And,
Mhm.
and what worked for them is not necessarily what's going to work for you because like you said earlier, every child is not the same. You
Mm-mm.
know, you might have one child that sleeps all the way through the night. The next child, may be up all night, So, it's okay to take everything with a grain of salt, but don't get frustrated and don't let people put the pressure on you to raise your child the way that they raise their child. So, it's okay to be firm in your decision making process, and be sure to include your spouse in that decision making process, and that you're not just kind of, well, it's my child. No, it's you guys share this child together. So
Yep.
I think that's important. Well, Chemyeeka, do you have any closing remarks that you would like to leave with the viewers?
Thank you for inviting me on. This has been fun. I hope it was fun for you all to listen to.
Yes.
Um, and I think, just in all honesty, there's a lot going on right now that people are having to decide between if they want to start families, if the way they're raising their family is the way they truly want to continue to raise their family, and just navigating the world. And to say it's okay to not have it all figured out. It's okay to reach out to someone. And I encourage us to actually have those conversations more. That even if you aren't seeing a professional, you are talking to somebody. Get that off your chest. And I was thinking, because Suicide Prevention of America, they have like this college theme right now where it's literally get that shit off your chest. And I was like, oh, that is a great slogan for some college students. I'm gonna say that for everybody. Get that shit off your chest. Like, don't let it sit there. And to remember that whether you're in preconception, you're pregnant, or you already have a child, people around you and your children are watching. So, are you just saying or are you doing? Because they are picking up on the things that you don't say a lot more than they're picking up on the things that you do say. So, just if that's the motivation, somebody needs to change some things or to go out and say, tomorrow's going to be my new day one, remember that you are modeling behaviors, whether you are choosing to be a role model or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I could not have said that better myself. Well, I just want to thank you again for coming on the show. This has been a really, really refreshing show tonight. So I really enjoyed it. I want you to stick around for a second. I do
Okay.
have a quick announcement to make. So I'm going to take you off the screen real quickly. All right, guys. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in, and be sure to like, subscribe, and share if you have not done so already. Be sure to tune in every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Also, I want to make an announcement, okay? If you are located in Montgomery, Alabama, you have a child, or you know someone with a daughter, not a child, a daughter, that is a senior in high school and getting ready to graduate, I have a nonprofit. It is called Cairo Health Missions. This is the website, cairohealthmissions.com. We are raising money to give out two $2,500 scholarships, which is not much, but when you are going into your freshman year, that $2,500 can be used for books. It can be used for, just getting things for your dorm rooms or whatever the case may be. But the scholarship is for a Black or Hispanic high school senior in Montgomery, Alabama, that is looking to pursue medicine, or pursue something in the health field. It may be a tech. It may be just go on the website, go under events. It gives you everything that you would have to submit to qualify for the scholarship. And also, if you would like to donate for this scholarship, please email me at scholarship@cairohealthmissions.com, and I will, email you back and give you any type of information. You can also donate on the website, but they do take a large percentage. So if you would like to donate in another way, please contact me. I would love to just be of assistance to you. So please help us get these girls the money that they need to help them, take the next step in their lives. Okay. So thank you guys for tuning in so much. And I will see you guys next week. Have a blessed evening.